Hey folks, welcome back to another of the next best games. Now I'm sure at this point there are hilarious comments. What's next? Tom's top 1,000 games. And you know, I'm even getting garbage from the guys here in the studio. But the fact is that I really like talking about my top 100 games. We talk about those games a lot. And these games are really amazing games. Again, I've played thousands and thousands of games. These are in the top 10% of all games that I've played, or even probably in the top 5%. And so I think it's really important to talk about them and say how good they are. Also, it's interesting to see where the games go up and down over the course of years. So today we're doing 180 to 161. Let's get started with 180. This is Dominaire. Now this was in my top 100 a couple of years. I still really enjoy the game. It's a little slower than I like it to be, but it's an area control game where you have these cards. It's all based around this deck of cards. And when you play a card in this game, determines how powerful it is. So the later you wait to play some cards, the more powerful they are. But at the same time, you can get some cards out early. They'll give you powers. Meanwhile, you're placing things out. Area control, really good game. Bloodborne. Now, Bloodborne is a game that I really enjoy. It's from Eric Lang. It's based on a universe I have zero interest in, really. But I like this game because it's a fun take that it almost has a semi-co-op feeling as you're all fighting a monster, but you want to be the one to hit the monster as much as possible and get these blood tokens. For a game based on a very serious, dark theme, the game is kind of fun and flippant to me, and I'm actually looking forward to the expansion coming out. Number 178 is new to the list. That's Outlive. Now, we actually played Outlive live here on our channel, and I really like this post-apocalyptic Euro-style game in which you are placing workers, where you're moving workers on a board, trying to get the resources back to build your survival bunker, so that when the survival bunkers team comes through, the rescue team, they pick you because your bunker's so great. Great graphics, really cool mechanisms. Outlive. 177 has been on my list for many, many years. That's Ink and Gold. It's a very, very simple push your luck style game. You know, are you going to go deeper into the temple, or are you going to run out? And eventually, you know, at certain points, the temple is going to collapse and you get nothing. But if you stay in longer, you might get more treasure. The very simplest and basic of push your luck games, but it also is great because it fits a wide range of players. 176 is Reifenbreit. This is a bicycle racing game. I love this game. Now, it's been knocked down farther because Downforce does a very similar thing, and I like it. But in Reifenbreit, you have 4 bike racers, and you're racing around a track by rolling dice, which sounds very generic and outdated. But you can draft other players. So if they roll better than you, you can draft with them. You have cards to replace your dice. I love the graphics. I love the simplicity. I love that you have 4 different racers. Great game. Reifenbreit. 175 has also been on my list for many, many years, and that's Galaxy Trucker. This is a silly game in which you are building a spaceship up as fast as you can. There's a pile of tiles, and you build the spaceship up, and you build this wonky, weird spaceship. You're trying to get as many guns, as many engines, as many ways to hold goods, and then you basically, for the next part of the game, fly your ship through asteroids, pirates, and all sorts of bad things and see if your ship survives. Sometimes it does, and that's wonderful. Sometimes it spectacularly fails, and that's hilarious. A great game. 7 Wonders is my 174. 7 Wonders is, you know, the drafting game that everyone talks about, and it really is good. I still remember the first time it came out, which was 7 years ago at this point, and the publisher came to me and said, this game is probably going to win the Spiel des Jahres, and I was like, we'll see. Well, they were right. 7 Wonders is an amazingly cool drafting game, which has been made better by each expansion. I really enjoy Babel myself. It's Babel, Cities, and then Leaders, but they all add something to the game, and it's a fun little card game. It's about building a civilization, but it stays pretty strong. 173 is Vegas Showdown. This is probably the biggest jump I have of any game, in a sense that when I first played this game, I did not like it and almost wrote it off. But as I played it more and more, I enjoyed the idea of building your casino. I don't really care about the casino, but I like building my own thing and seeing what happens. And I love the auction mechanism for this game. It really has grown on me as this, you know, it's the same auction thing that you see in Amun Ray and many other games, Stockpile and so on. But in Vegas Showdown, despite the poor components, it just is really fun to just kind of bid on these tiles, and you're trying to get restaurants and slot machines and stuff and get more people into your casino. 172 is First and Goal. This is a football game, which is kind of odd because I'm not the biggest football fan. American football is interesting to me, but not that much so. However, the actual sport itself I find fascinating. The idea of putting a play in and seeing your opponents play and then seeing how many yards you get. I love that. This game does that with dice. And this game would not be on the list at all, but for the expansions, there's a lot of them, and the expansions make the teams different, and so I like taking one team up against another. A lot of fun. Then we are at 171, Flashpoint Fire Rescue. Now, Flashpoint Fire Rescue is a game about saving people from a burning house. This is a noble theme. It's a fun theme. There's a lot of interesting things about it as you work together, the different firemen, and you have different special powers. In essence, there's a family game and then the advanced game. They're both fun. The family game's simple. It's one of the best gateway games out there. The advanced game, where you each have special powers, you can switch firemen. It's so cool, and it has so many expansions. You can go rescue people from a burning submarine, a 2-story building. A lot of fun, and just highly recommend it. 170 is The Adventurers, the Temple of Shock. Now this, The Adventurers is a really entertaining game. Hopefully it will be reprinted someday, but it's essentially Indiana Jones / Lara Croft in a box. And you have some adventurers, they're in a temple, this boulder starts rolling behind you, walls start closing in, you jump over lava, you cross a bridge, meanwhile trying to grab as many treasures as you can along the way. It's a bit of push your luck in this game, very entertaining. They made a sequel which was good, but not quite as good, the Pyramid of Horus, I think. But the Temple of Shock it's not a great game, I guess, but it's just so much fun every time I play it. 169 is Forbidden Stars. Now, Forbidden Stars is a big, grandiose game set in the Warhammer 40,000 universe, in which you have different races and you're going around trying to conquer planets. So it kind of takes a big macro look at this. Based on a few of the systems from the StarCraft game that they came out, this one really streamlined them, added a lot of other things, allowed you some very asymmetrical gameplay. I mean, the orcs are playing very differently than the Space Marines, which are playing very differently than the Eldar. A lot of options, and it works really well with 2 players. Royals is my 168. This is one of the Dice Tower Essentials game. As soon as I played this, I was just, wow, this is a gateway area control game. As you play cards to control different regions on the board, also trying to control different nobles, and trying to get as many different nobles as possible. Very simple. I call it the ticket to ride of area control games. Really like this one. There's some cutthroat as you're trying to take things back and forth from each other. That's how area control works, but just a lot of fun and very simple. 167 is Mission Red Planet, another game that's been on my list for 6 years now. Mission Red Planet, which they just had the reboot come out from Fantasy Flight last year. Really beautiful version of the game. I really like. It's another area control game in which players are trying to colonize Mars, steampunky style, by playing cards from their hands and then filling up these spaceships and sending them off to Mars. Just a lot of fun, and it scales really well. 166 is Escape, a cooperative speed game, which I'm finding is kind of something I do enjoy a lot. Escape is really fun. You're in a temple trying to escape. You have 10 minutes. The game is 10 minutes long. You have a soundtrack, and it's playing music and sounds, and you're going around exploring by rolling dice as fast as you can and helping each other escape different traps and things. And eventually, every once in a while, there's a gong. You got to get back to the start. As soon as the gong's over, you go again. The gong goes, go back to the start. Then you got to get out. Find the exit and get out. Really fun game. Escape. Dice Town is my 165. This is a game that mixes poker with dice, and so you're rolling some dice each time that show cards, trying to get a great poker hand, and if you have the most of different sides, you will win different things, gold nuggets, money. You're trying to get a good poker hand to get land, lots of points. The expansion also really brings us out. This one was just reprinted by Asmodee, so I'm really looking forward to seeing that new version of it, but just a lot of fun. Dice Town. 164 is World of Yoho. Now, this is an extremely unique game in which your phone becomes a ship. And you put this on the board and you move the phone around and you actually see the background of the board on it. You see your little ship and they move around. You're picking up goods, moving them from one spot to the other, and shooting and attacking each other, which is really fun and entertaining. A little bit of downtime. Sometimes when someone goes to port, they're messing around with their phone, but just the options and the ability to have this updated all the time, really great game. Number 163 is Celestia. Celestia is a push your luck game, very similar, as I said, to Ink and Gold. Another pure push your luck game as you're all on an airship, and the airship is rising, and someone's rolling dice to see if they can make it rise or will it crash. And at any point, you can jump off the ship and decide and get that many points. But the longer you stay on, the more points you get. Simple, but hilarious fun, and goes up to 6 players. 162 for me is Mystic Vale. Now, despite the boring name, the lack of theme, and the really boring names of the expansions, it really is a good game. It introduced the card crafting system to us, in which you are building cards as the game goes by, and it's a deck building game other than that, and you're clearing the land of whatever. I don't care about that stuff. So it's very, very generic, but I like it. I like the idea of building a card and having this unique card that nobody else has. A lot of fun, Mystic Vale. Number 161, the last one for today's, is The Castles of Mad King Ludwig. Now, this was a follow-up to Suburbia, kind of, sort of. It's a very different game in which you're building castles, and I really like that. The idea of building a castle is neat. The visual aspects here is really cool, as you're placing rooms into castles with a very interesting thing where one person sets the price of all the different castle pieces, and then you decide if you're going to buy them or not, and if you buy them, they go to that person, and then that person can buy one. So you have to decide how much is someone willing to pay for a castle piece, and how much do I want to pay for my particular castle piece. A really great system, comes together well. That's The Castles of Mad King Ludwig. All right, well, that's another 20. We're getting closer to my top 100. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching my next best game.